Hello YouTube, this is MikeB the Game Genie, and this is another episode of Game Pickups from the New Adventure Island. Alright guys, so I've had a pretty busy and expensive month. Let me show you some of the great stuff I've picked up since the last time we talked. So guys, first things first, it's a system that I haven't really been collecting for, but I just started picking up games because they're showing up at the thrift store all the time and they're going for pretty cheap, and there's a lot of games I really want. Now, sometimes you have to pay more than what you really want to get certain games, but sometimes games just seem to pop up at the thrift stores and it's really cool to pick up. Alright guys, for the PS2, I haven't really been collecting for the PS2. Most of the stuff I have from my PlayStation 2 I've had ever since I first bought them brand new, but recently started picking up some games for the PlayStation 2 because I just bought a new PS2 Slim a little while ago, and I've been playing it again, going back through some of the games I've never finished, and I've been on YouTube and I've heard other great YouTubers tell me about all these great PlayStation 2 titles, so I've been picking them up when I saw them at the thrift stores. I don't go online and I don't buy anything new for the PlayStation 2. Everything I get for the PlayStation 2 is relatively at a good price, unless it's something I missed when I was growing up and I really wanted it. So let me show you what I picked up. I picked up 5 games for the PlayStation 2. I picked up Time Splitters for $3. This one's really for my wife, it's not for me, but I picked up Puzzle Quest. I paid $4 for this one at the Value Village, and that is Phantasy Star Universe. I'm not sure, I haven't tried this yet. I don't know if I can play this without the modem, but if I can, someone can let me know. That'd be awesome because it looks like it's a really fun game. Next one I paid a little more for. I've got this dealer guy here in St. John's, and he's a really nice guy. He's got amazing assortment of games. He had a store, never really worked out, so now he's just kind of selling stuff online and selling stuff out of his house, and I've picked up some amazing things from him, such as my copy of Earthbound. So I paid a little bit more for this, probably more than it goes for online, and probably more than I wanted, but I just saw it and I wanted to pick it up right away, and that is Samurai Legend Musashi. I'm excited to pick up the PS2 game, but I really, really want the PS1 game that I missed out on, and that is Brave Fencer Musashi. Love to get a copy of that. So I paid $10 for this. I know, $10, right? The next game is actually one I'm really excited about. One of my favorite series for the Sega Genesis, for the Sega CD. I really want the Sega Saturn copy, but I've never ever come across it. Was Shining Force, and I was excited to pick up for the PlayStation 2 Shining Force EXA. Now, the cool thing about this game is I don't really know how much it goes for online. I haven't checked it out yet. But I've seen other people try to sell it for around $25, $30. I picked this up for $5 at the Whitburn Open Air Flea Market. And the guy just basically didn't price any of his games at all based on what they were worth. They were just like $5 straight. So I picked this up. This was the only one in the lot I really wanted. I asked him and he said $5. I was like, yeah, I'm not even going to double check that. So $5, Shining Force EXA. I'm excited to play this. Nintendo 64. I haven't really been collecting for my Nintendo 64, but every now and then I'll come across a couple games I want, or a game I'll see at a really good price. The first one haunts me because I think it was in, not my last video, it might have been the video before. I picked up Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball on the Super Nintendo, and for some reason I just see it, I pick it up, and I'm terrible at baseball games, but I just keep getting these. So for the N64 for $3, I picked up Major League Baseball, Ken Griffey Jr., and a game I'm really excited to pick up. I paid $5 for it at the Valley Village, and I really love this game. Believe it or not, I love the Xbox 360 version as well, even though a lot of people hated it. It was one of the first games I got for my 360, and I really enjoyed it. I never played the N64 version, and it's a crying shame, so now I finally get to do that. I picked up Perfect Dark on the N64. Genesis does what Nintendo don't. So guys, I actually had a pretty okay month from the Sega Genesis. I definitely picked up a lot more in previous months, but I didn't really come across a lot I really wanted on the Sega Genesis in the last little while. But I did, however, go into a pawn shop called Traders one day, which is not usually a great place to go to get video games, but every now and then they'll just get a pile of stuff in, and usually the prices are a little bit higher, but I guess I hate just like one of these weird days where I could get stuff at a decent price. So in Traders, I picked up Tasmania on the Sega Genesis, $3. Kid Chameleon, I don't know what to expect from this game. I haven't tried it out yet, but I'm waiting to play it. It's one of the old Genesis covers and titles, so I'm excited about that. A game one of my friends had, but I've never played it before. It was $3, so I decided to pick it up. Soldiers of Fortune. I have no idea if this is any good, but anyways, check it out. And last but not least, I did pick up something that I've never really had. One of my favorite Sega Genesis games is actually Streets of Rage. And anybody who's probably saw one of my videos before knows I don't actually have the real case for Streets of Rage. I've got one of these Genesis Mega Hits type cases. So they had it there for $4.49, and I finally picked up the original copy of Streets of Rage in its own original boxes. Last but not least, I didn't have a case for this, but I'll make my own case because, lucky enough, I got a box of empty Sega Genesis cases today, so I'll go through, see what I want, what I don't want. I'm going to take the covers out, and then I'll print off my own cases from the cover project, and I'll put the new covers in. So I picked up a game called X Mutants for $2.99. I've never played it before, but I'll check it out. So you guys just heard me talk about printing off covers from my Sega Genesis clamshell cases and the Site to Cover project. I wanted to send a thank you out to EdT1138. There's a couple other people who sent me messages too, but Ed actually sent me the first message, and he was the one who told me about the cover project. Go check it out. Basically you can download all the Sega Genesis covers. You might have to resize them, and then you can print them. So I'm not very handy, but I tried my hand at one, especially because I had this game without a case, and it was absolutely killing me because, in my opinion, it's one of the best Sega Genesis games that there is, and that is Contra Hard Corps on the Sega Genesis. So I don't know if you can see this very well, but what I did was I actually printed out my own case, and I put it in an empty clamshell I had. You know what? I actually really like this. It looks really good. Very cool. So guys, it's not that hard to do. I basically just downloaded it, put it into MS Paint, and resized it to 80 times its original image, printed it out legal size, long ways, and worked pretty much perfect in the case. And I'm excited to finally have a case and box for Contra Hard Corps. Last but not least, one of my favorite systems to collect for is the Super Nintendo. And it wasn't always, but there's so many great games on the Super Nintendo that I'm going back and revisiting now, and I just really enjoy to play. So, in the past month, I picked up some amazing Super Nintendo titles. Nothing super rare or anything like that, just really fun Super NES games. The first one may be a bit of a surprise. I picked 3 games up off on eBay seller, and I didn't get a great deal on them. He was charging $10 per game. But anyways, the quality of the games are amazing. Well, to me anyways, I really enjoy them. So I picked up Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which surprisingly is a great game until you get to the last 2 levels. There's this weird, if anybody's ever played I forget what it's called. It's like an Ultraman game where you gotta fight these giant monsters. Like the actual side-scrolling action platformer is fantastic up until the last 2 levels when you actually go into the Megazord and you fight some of Rita Repulsa's enemies. It was okay, but it was actually more frustrating than anything else. What a terrible way to end the game. But other than that, this game is fantastic. It's got some amazing graphics, it's got some really cool cutscenes, and a pretty fun little ending. Great game for the Super Nintendo. I advise you to pick it up. If you can't finish a game, this is the perfect game for you because the last 2-3 fights aren't that much fun. One of my all-time favorite Super Nintendo games. I used to rent this game all the time, and I could never ever finish it. And I picked this up, and I put it in, and I finished it my very first playthrough, and I was so happy to be able to finally do it. And that is Batman Returns on the SNES. Now, a lot of people have probably played Batman on the NES. This is not exactly like that. This is not your Ninja Gaiden action platformer. This is actually a straight-up beat-em-up, and man oh man, is it ever fun. there's this really cool move you can do in it. I did a Top 3 Tuesday a while ago where I talked about top 3 favorite fighting game moves, and I forgot to add this one. There's one thing when you're in the first level where you can actually basically grab the enemy, which is common in fighting games, but you can actually grab the enemy, and instead of just throwing him down on his back or doing some kind of move, you just absolutely huck him at a wall, and if there's actually a glass window, you smash the glass window when you throw him there. Amazingly fun beat-em-up game. Excellent. So everybody knows, I'm a pretty big wrestling fan. Yeah, I am. And I just recently picked up, in the same lot, or the same bunch of games I bought off the eBay seller, Saturday Night Slam Masters on the SNES. Excellent, fun game. It's made by Capcom, and it's a mix of basically Street Fighter 2 and Final Fight put into a wrestling game. Wow, I can't say enough good things about it. It's a lot of fun. The game's really held up. Like, I haven't played it since I was a kid, but it's just as fun as I remember. Next game I picked up at a flea market, and I paid way too much money for it, but I just got excited, and I think I picked up a couple of NES games, but it's off this guy I always buy off at the flea market. He's like the only guy at the flea market that sells retro games on the regular. He's the only reseller there. Well, the only reseller that's any good. And I went through, he didn't really have any NES games I needed, but I took a look at his SNES games, and I found another Capcom game that I really wanted, and I remember seeing an amazing cover on Nintendo Power a couple of years ago, and I never ever got a chance to play the game, so when I saw it, I paid the $20, which is too much, and I picked it up anyways, and that is The Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse. I've played it a bit, looks like a lot of fun so far. I can't wait to try to go all the way through. Here's a game I'm so excited to finally add to my collection. I've seen so many great things about it online, and I went to the pawn shop today at Traders, and I took a look in the case, and I wasn't really going to buy anything, even though they had a pile of stuff there. They had all kinds of new Nintendo games. Lady at the counter just told me they sold a whole box of Atari 2600 games, which I'm livid about that I never got to at first. But I saw this in there, and I thought it was worth way more than what it's worth. I didn't really do my research on it, so basically the case said $12, and I was like, oh my god, get that game right now, because I figured it was a $100 game for some reason. I don't know what I was thinking. But anyway, she picked it out. I've plugged it in. I'm a recent shoot-'em-up fan. Well, shoot-'em-up convert. So when I saw this, I said, I absolutely have to get it. And I gotta tell you, even though I probably paid a little bit too much for it, really not disappointed at all, because it's an amazing game. And that is UN Squadron on the SNES. What a fun shooter. Oh my god, I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed this so far. Man, I picked up a lot of Capcom games, especially Capcom SNES. So this is another original Capcom game from when the Super Nintendo first came out. I have this game on my Game Boy Advance, but I never ever had it on the Super Nintendo. I've got the sequel, complete in box, and that is Final Fight 2. But I picked up from Gamers Haven for $10, probably a little too much again, Final Fight on the SNES. So I have this, I have Final Fight 2, I need to get Final Fight 3, and a game I really want is Final Fight CD for the Sega CD. I've heard a lot of really good things about that. Almost had one for about $15 on eBay.ca one time, but now prices gone crazy for some reason. But anyways, I'm excited to have a Super Nintendo version of Final Fight, so I don't have to plug in my Game Boy Advance player and play the Game Boy version anymore, because I really don't like playing it on the GameCube controller. I first heard about this game looking at a Happy Video Game Nerd game quickie that was on YouTube, and anyways, he talked about it. He said, you know, it's a pretty decent game. He talked about some of the faults with it, but at the same time, it looked like it was really fun, and I want to try it out for myself. And I'm going to say 2 words to you, and see if you can figure out what game I'm talking about. Toothpick Sword. Figured it out yet? Yeah, that's right. The game is Lagoon for the SNES. I paid $15. Again, probably too much. But it was from the really nice guy at Gamers Haven, and honestly, I've been looking for this game ever since I saw that review almost 5 months ago, and I've never come across it once. So when I saw it there today, I had to pick it up. Another game I got overly excited about, this again was from Gamers Haven, and when I tell you how much I paid for this, you're going to think I'm crazy. And maybe I was crazy, but I'm there, I'm looking out, I'm picking out like 25 NES games that I have never seen before, finding some really cool Super Nintendo games, and he goes upstairs. Then he comes back downstairs and he's like, hey, by the way, I've got this extremely super rare game that everybody is looking for. Do you have any interest in picking up a Taito game? Taito, Super Nintendo game. Ninja Warriors. Of course I had interest. Of course. I put down the copy of Legend of the Mystical Ninja on the SNES at the same time, which I forgot to pick up afterwards. I'm so mad at myself for doing it. Can't believe I forgot to get that game. He gave me Ninja Warriors, and he said, yeah man, this game usually goes for $100 online. I'll give it to you for $60. And I contemplated it, and I contemplated the whole time I was picking out the other games. It was like 100 million degrees in this guy's basement where I was looking at his games, and in the end, I said, yeah, sure, I'll go ahead and get Ninja Warriors, because I've never seen this, looking for it. And I've heard so many great things about it. Again, I think the Happy Video Game Nerd did a review on this, and he talked about it and said it was incredible. He's got good taste in games, and I'm a sucker for Taito. I can't help it. I'm a sucker. So I paid the $60. I went home and checked it on eBay.ca. 40 plus shipping and handling. I can't blame the guy. Like, you know, I don't think he tried to fleece me. I think it's just, it was what it was. Maybe it was worth more before, and a couple other copies have come up. But anyways, I plugged this into my Super Nintendo as soon as I got home, and I can tell you how good it is. It's just a really, really fun game. I will give you some advice, though. Play as the female robot ninja. I can't believe I just said that. Female robot ninja. It's such a cool thing. So anyways, play as a female robot ninja. She's just quicker, and speed is key so far from playing this game. The first guy, who's kind of like the bulky guy, he moves so slow, and I was like, nah, this game's okay. But when I started playing as that middle girl, man, oh man, what a fun beat 'em up. You guys know I like my RPGs, and really there's a few Super Nintendo RPGs that are really talked about and people go nuts about. My first video here, I did a game pickups from the new Adventure Island, and I entitled the video Game Pickups from New Adventure Island, Episode 1, The Secret of Evermore. And Secret of Evermore is the US, I don't know if it's a quasi-sequel to this game that I picked up this week. It's an epic SNES RPG, Secret of Mana. I picked this up at Netherworld Games, which you might have seen from my last game pickups from the New Adventure Island. It's this little hole-in-the-wall store here in Newfoundland, but man, oh man, I'm telling you right now, by far, best prices on NES and SNES games you're ever going to find. Except for a thrift store. So maybe if I was at a thrift store, I might come across this for $5. I paid $30 for it. But when I was down at Gamers Haven, I found the only other copy of this I've ever seen in the wild since I've started going back and trying to get the games I didn't pick up. And he wanted $60 for it. So I haven't checked to see what the regular price on eBay.ca is yet. But I'm happy to finally add this to my collection. $30, in my opinion, money well spent to get such an amazing game. The Secret of Mana. I'm very happy to finally have this, and I'm now only a few games short from having all the Square RPGs on my Super Nintendo. Anyways, I want to say thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you do, like the video. And if you're new and you enjoyed it, subscribe. That'd be awesome. This is MikeB the Game Genie, and I'll talk to you next time. Guys, say hello to Starscream. Hey, Screamer.